right, we're free. We're free. Oh shit, the mic. It doesn't. It won't clip. It won't clip to anything. There's nothing to clip it to. There's nothing to clip it to today. Um, I feel that the Free the Nipple campaign was designed by a government agency as a psyop to MK Ultra me, to personally fuck with me individually. Um, it wasn't, clearly, but boy, does it feel like it was. Because if there is anything that would make me feel conflicted, it's gotta be the Free the Nipple campaign. So, God, where do you start with something like this? For those of you who don't know, for those of you who aren't up to speed with the Free the Nipple campaign, for those of you who aren't keeping up with all the news updates of the Free the Nipple campaign newsletter, it is a campaign to, I guess, not consider women's nipples to be nudity, to be nude in public. If you're showing your nipples in public as a woman, it's not considered nudity, because of course men can show their nipples in public, and it's not considered nudity. And they basically argue in feminist terms that it's a double standard, that it's unreasonable for men's nipples to be okay, but for women's nipples to not be okay. So first of all, fair enough, argument heard. Okay, but also this is a movement that is very probably popular and uncontroversial. It's not taken seriously by anybody. It's kind of seen as like a joke movement. But that's also the point, right? That's why it works. That's what it's for. That's what it does. Is you get a bunch of dudes who are probably not feminist at all, who just like, hell yeah, I like nipples. I want to see nipples, and you make a joke out of yourself. And if you make a joke out of yourself in a clever enough way, you can trick people into supporting you, even if they normally wouldn't, which is good. I like that. I like using jokes to win support from relatively apolitical people. I think that's cool and fun. Um, so why not? Why the nipples though? Why specifically the nipples? Because realistically, if you're gonna make that kind of like cultural, like social constructionist like argument, then why not go even farther? Why not just be a nudist and embrace nudism, and not just like personally go to a place where nudism is a thing, but legalize nudism just everywhere, just in all places. Everybody can be naked everywhere. Because we're clearly, it's a step in that direction, right? It's clearly a step in the direction of more nudity being socially acceptable. So why not just go farther with it? I feel like people, they get locked into these status quo biases, and they don't push the status quo enough. They don't want to. They want to build something kind of moderate. It's going to appeal to a broader portion of the population, but they shouldn't. They should push. They should push to change things, change people's minds. So we should really be going full nudism, okay? Or in the complete opposite direction. How comfortable are we really with the idea that women's nipples, aren't specifically sexual? Because at that point, what is specifically sexual at that point? Can we at least admit genitals are specifically sexual? Are we gonna deconstruct that too? Because I feel like the campaign begs the question: why are women's nipples different from men's nipples? And the answer is because we perceive them differently, because of like evolutionary psychological differences, and because of sex differences, and because men and women are different things. That would be the reason, if there were a reason. that's the reason. But we don't go in that direction. And if you do go in that direction, you can go even farther in that direction, right? Like it doesn't make any sense to me that there are so many conservatives who run around being like, Islam is bad, it's terrible, and do you know why it's bad? It's because it makes women wear hijabs and the full body one, the hijab. It makes them wear full body garbs. But you read about it for a little bit, and it's like, well, they believe women should be modest. And the same people who are mad at Islam because it's this backwards, violent religion that makes you wear hijabs, right? The same exact people are also, uh, Abigail Shapiro or who have you, going out and being like, well, women need to dress more modestly. You've got all these trad wives. You've got all these conservative people saying that women should dress more modestly. Oh, these days women sexualize themselves too much. They wear too many of these short shorts. We gotta take a step backwards. And I hate that the popular opinion is always the one that's just like a little inch, just like a little inch in one direction or the other, because that one doesn't make sense, right? The one that embraces itself wholeheartedly on either side, the full nudism and the people should dress modestly all the way to the hijab. Both of those positions make a lot of sense to me, because that felt like you sat down and you considered the issue for a minute and you actually kind of thought about it and you went, oh, well, you know what? I've decided that I'm more pro modesty than I am pro like freedom, or vice versa. I'm more of the belief that things are the way they are for a reason. And that's the other thing, right? Like clearly, the other thing I wanted to mention was in some cultures they don't kiss, right? So you can apply this kind of deconstructionist logic to a bunch of different stuff. You can say kissing isn't innately sexual, but if somebody kisses you without permission, that's gonna feel sexual. It's definitely gonna be sexual when that happens. So, um, yeah, I get very mixed feelings about the Free the Nipple campaign every time it's brought up, because I am definitely of the belief that at some point you gotta push back against the idea that it's all just arbitrary. Like, no, it's not arbitrary. It's probably the case that women's breasts are seen as different because they've been sexualized, because women breastfeed, which is a thing men don't do. They have biologically different breasts. That's the reason. That's the reason it's different. It's not a made up social standard. It, and if you're gonna be upset about it, just go all the way, I guess. Don't free the nipple. Don't do it. Free the dong, or free nothing. Free the dong or free nothing.